Good afternoon. My name is Diane. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria, and on behalf of the League and the Peoria Public Library, we would like to welcome you to our candidate forum today. This forum is for the candidates for the Illinois Central College Board of Trustees. Our candidates today are Gale, Thetford, Diane, Kim Armstrong, and Christine Bare-Kemper. We appreciate the audience that is here and those who are joining us through our live stream channel on YouTube. For those attending in person, we hope that you'll submit a question for the candidates. We have collectors in the room who will provide you with an index card if you didn't pick one up at the registration table. You can write down your questions for the candidates, and they will be given to the moderator. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We do not endorse candidates or political parties. We do take positions on issues after a lengthy study process. One of the missions of the League is voter education. We do this through candidate forums. We've been doing forums for many years throughout the country. It's our way for you to hear directly from the candidates. We hope that you will walk away from here today with a little more information about the issues in the community and about the candidates themselves to help you when you vote, either through early voting, voting by mail, or on election day. Our moderator this morning is Christopher Kiergarten. Chris will run through the rules and get us started. He has some questions that are already prepared by the League, but we're hoping that you, the voters, will help us with those questions. Thank you.
All right. I am on this. Okay. Good afternoon again, everybody. I'm Chris Kiergarten. I'll be your moderator today. And as we begin, let me run through the rules of how we'll conduct the forum today. The candidates have four forum and randomly selected blocks to determine the order in which they will begin to speak. Ms. Lamb will begin to speak first, and we'll work our way down the line. And then our first question will begin with our second candidate. Ms. Thetford will answer that question, and we'll work our way through. So everybody has the opportunity to answer first multiple times. And we'll be here for about an hour, so we can anticipate getting through 8 to 10 questions during that time, maybe a little more. And we have a number of questions that are up here, but again, I would encourage all of you in the audience, if you have something that you wish to have asked, please submit that to one of our question takers who are out there. Please wave your hand in the air. That if you have a note card that you filled out, hold it out to them and they will bring it up to me. Please be advised when you are writing your questions, they need to be questions that can be answered by all candidates rather than just directed to a single candidate. Candidates will have 2 minutes to provide an opening statement, then we'll have 1 minute each to answer the questions. They will have an opportunity for a 1 minute closing statement at the end. Now, I would also just like to acknowledge for the record that we do have a majority of a quorum of the board that is here today between candidates as well as others who are in the audience. No business is being conducted at this meeting, so we are I would also encourage the audience to be in listen mode during our forum today, and because we are live streaming this and because it will be available to viewers from now through well after the election on YouTube, we ask that there be no disruptions, no direct engagement from the audience with the candidates. Instead, if you have those questions, put them on a card and be respectful to our candidates, your fellow listeners, and your future listeners here. So I think that's all we need for the ground rules at this point. And we will go ahead and begin with, I should also let everybody know that the questions that have been prepared have not been shared with the candidates. You would not expect them to be, and they have not been reviewed by anybody else but members of the league, and that includes me. They were written without any input from me, which is good. You want the moderator to be as neutral as possible. So, we'll begin now with opening statements, starting with Ms. Lamb, and proceed from there.
Good afternoon, my name is Diane, Unes, and I'm a lifelong Peoria County resident. I've grown up in West Peoria, gone to Peoria schools, went to ICC as a traditional student, as well as a non-traditional student. I recognize I want to be on a board, nonpartisan board, for no pay as a volunteer, because it's very important to visit.
We'll trade.
Anyway, can you hear me now? Thank you very much. The importance of Illinois Central College to our district, to our people, to the state, to the country. I can't tell you, it opens up your world to be educated. This facility we have here is one of the best in the country, I believe, in the state for sure. There are 48 community colleges in the state, 29 of them are in agricultural programs. This is where we are. We are one of the 29, and I would say one of the absolute best. What makes us unique in the community, the partnerships with the community businesses that need our folks, our education facility, the training field people coming from our school. What will happen when all the grants, a lot of grant funding has been acquired by our current president of the college, who I was part of the board when she was hired. What happens when they're gone? Well, the partnership needs to continue, and I feel like we can do that, continue the partnership so the businesses can pick up the training, the funds, and support our students. Our students are all of us, all of us. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Thetford.
Is it on?
Just
Okay. Sorry, it doesn't sound like it's on, so I just wanted to check things. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum today. There's not nearly as many of these face-to-face opportunities anymore, and I applaud you for taking the time and effort to make this happen. My name is Gale Thetford, and I'm running for re-election to the ICC Board of Trustees. I'm currently serving my 12th year on the board, having first been elected in 2013. I've twice served as chair of the board, twice served as vice chair of the board, and I was chosen by the board to serve on the search committee for a new president, culminating in the hiring of our current Dr. Sheila Bailey. I was also chosen by two separate chairs to amend and update our board's policies and procedures, a process which was 2 years in the making and completion. I'm a former high school English and junior college teacher, English and French, turned lawyer, specializing in elder law and long-term care planning. I bring a background of education and legal analysis to the work of this board. Over the years, I've served the community in various ways, 8 years on the Peoria City Council, in addition to 9 years on the Harvard Healthcare's board and multiple other boards. But this board is and has been my primary focus for quite some time. I value education above all else. I was the first person in my family to earn a college degree, like many of our ICC students. I put myself through law school as a single mom, working and balancing life struggles as do many of our students. I also obtained an associate's in science from ICC many years ago, and I'm constantly amazed at the impact ICC has on the lives of our students and the growth of our community. I ask once again for your vote on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, Ms. Armstrong. And as we go through the microphones here, just a reminder for everybody, make sure your phone is on vibrate rather than on ring.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for offering the opportunity to not only hear from all of us, but also provide information on why this role is important community. I'm Kim Armstrong. I've spent most of my life in Central Illinois and the last 30+ years in Peoria. I've been active in the community in some form for most of this time. For the last 6.5 years, I've served as the Vice President of Marketing and Outreach at Illinois Central College, and I'm retiring on March 31st. I oversee all college marketing, communications, the website, and admissions. During my tenure, the website, or the brand has been strengthened, our outreach has been expanded, including to communities, our underserved communities. Our website's been updated and enrollment has increased steadily since fall of 2023. I am proud of our accomplishments, but it's time for a new role. I can bring a unique and relevant perspective to the Board of Trustees. I was a key member of the leadership team navigating the post-COVID world for higher ed and ensuring our students and employees were not only communicated with, but also supported. My understanding of the challenges we face in higher ed have over the last 5 years and what the next several will bring will provide a unique perspective to our board. The Illinois Community College Trustees Association defines the responsibility of college trustee as helping to shape the positive image of the college within the campus and the community. I have spent my entire adult life doing just that, as a volunteer and as a professional. I've served on the boards of many organizations, often in leadership, frequently driving process improvement and national recognition. I intend to do the same as a trustee, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, and finally, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters, to the audience, to everyone who's watching and will continue to watch, so that you can be educated and get to know us as individuals and why we're all here. Really, I am standing here, if you've met me before, you know that I lead ICC. I'm standing here in my position, in my role, and in my confidence because of the kickstart that Illinois Central College gave me. As a single mother of 3 children in my 30s, ICC was in my backyard. I did not have the confidence in myself to keep going academics, but having the support of all of the attributes that Illinois Central College is and offers, I can. Okay. Okay, all right, it's there. So, you know, being able to give back to Illinois Central College is absolutely my passion. So I was able to serve on the foundation board twice and came off as president. My husband and I set up scholarships at Illinois Central College to ensure that students are able to have access to the healthcare and the opportunities that I did. I was nominated Alumnus of the Decade for Illinois Central College in 2017. And that is for somebody who continues to shine, be an ambassador, share, support, and encourage people to come to ICC and have the opportunities that I did. This is a calling for me. I feel like this is an opportunity for me to continue to support Illinois Central College in a different fashion on the Board of Trustees, encouraging the workforce commitment. I have the pleasure of working with OSF, and so seeing how we are able to partner with ICC in the businesses and the students around what are those needs and meeting those is really something that's going to continue to only promote Central College, and I feel like I can get a part of helping to grow that. I hope you're voting on April 1st and you learn more about me today and why. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for the opening statements, and we're going to move to our first question now, beginning with Ms. Thetford, and it is this. Most of the revenue that comes into ICC comes from a combination of local taxes, grants, corporate property, tax replacement, Federal Department of Education, and tuition. Out of budgeted revenue for 2024 of about $114.5 million. What concerns do you have that federal revenue support, some 13 million and change, might be in jeopardy in coming years?
I mean, at this time, quite honestly, I don't have concerns about any decrease in allocation of federal resources as far as our community colleges are concerned. There's really, I mean, we've been very blessed up to this point. There's currently no indication. ICC, quite candidly, just recently was the recipient of $4.8 million, followed previously by $15 million to promote IT within the college. Again, I mean, it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, but until we get some more specifics about, community college resources, and as a college, financially, we're very, very secure. So there have been scares before on the state front, and we've survived, and not just survived, but thrived. So I guess we shall see to some extent what we shall see.
Thank you. Ms. Armstrong?
Thank you. I am concerned about the lack of a potential federal funding decrease for Illinois Central College and all community colleges in the country based on the recent activities that we saw on Tuesday. We were prepared to communicate how we would continue to move forward with our important federally funded grant programs. These programs not only are affecting the individuals in our community, but they're also affecting employees of our college that are funded by those grants. Today, over the last 6 years, we've received over $27 million in grant money, some of that being federal. What we are actively working on as an administration, as a college, is how do we partner with our community-based organizations as well as businesses in the communities to move the dependence from grants to apprenticeships, where the businesses would be funding those opportunities and the employment. So if in fact that happens, I think we've got a solid plan on how we can move forward.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
I think we're sharing a little bit of a brain here, because honestly, the one thing that I was thinking and that I wrote down is really strengthening those community partnerships. So when we increase our student body, and then there's a slow increase of tuition, and we can get to a point where that is going to help. We also have our local taxes, right, that really go towards Illinois Central College. But really, the more opportunity for these apprentice programs and getting out into the community, it's not only going to offset the need for additional dependency on those grants, but that revenue coming in is going to strengthen the opportunity for keeping those local students to stay local as well.
Right. Thank you. Ms. Lynn?
As I mentioned in my opening statement, the partnerships are key. We understand that. Well, I am worried, but I think we do have a solid plan. I'm worried because of the inconsistency of what we're hearing from the federal government, but then again, they are still getting their feet wet. We don't know how it's going to turn out. I believe we have a supportive state. Our state government is very supportive of colleges' workforce initiatives. Our partnerships are very strong, and I believe the continued relationship, I believe it's there. It's there for us. And we just have to have our conversations and continue. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll move on to our next question, starting with Ms. Armstrong. As we do, I want to let all the candidates know your words are coming through fine on the live stream, so even if it seems like we're having some mic challenges, we're doing fine as long as everybody in the room can hear. If you're having difficulty in the room, like on the back row, kind of cup your head like this, and so we know that we gotta speak up a little here, but otherwise we seem to be doing fine. Ms. Armstrong, what do you believe the primary role of a community college trustee is?
Well, it's not only what I believe, but it's what the Illinois State Trustees, Community College Trustees Association says. We should be supportive of the college, a public-facing, positive role models for the community college that we represent. We also help approving in the mission statement. The only person who reports to the board is the president of the college. The board is ultimately responsible for hiring that president, and I think this is even more critical because this board will likely hire the next president. So the decisions that we make, how we approach this, that's why this board election, in my opinion, is so important.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
Understanding what is going on within Illinois Central College, helping to assist in hurdles, being ambassadors in our community, connecting the college with opportunities and moving the students forward is the, I'm going to say the personal reason that we need to be doing this. But to make sure it's a checks and balances as well, right? So when the budgets and the opportunities and the ideas come in, you've got a group of diverse individuals that's able to work with the president and the leadership to move things forward, and also to question appropriately, you know, are things moving along in the right direction? And if not, how do we get them on track?
All right, Ms. Lynn.
Yes, we have an Illinois Public Community College Act that outlines our duties, and that is policy oversight of the college. We write the policy actually, and they write the procedures. We help develop the mission, we help with the strategic plan. We are oversight and we're a liaison between the community, all of you, and the college. People contact us. We can go right to the president because she's our employee, and I feel like she listens. So our duties are as oversight, are as communicators, talking for the people of the district and the concerns and the questions. So thank you very much.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. In Illinois, trustees are elected. They're not elected in every state. In some states, they're appointed. So I have always believed that first and foremost, my responsibility is to represent the interests of the community, families, the students, and so forth. Of course, in addition to that, I have a duty to the college to assist it in remaining as fiscally stable as possible, overseeing the work of the administration, providing input when requested or when necessary, and last but not least, to the best of my ability, assisting the college in addressing the challenges that our students and our families have to meet as far as getting their education.
All right, we'll move on to the next question, starting with Ms. Bare-Kemper. And the question is this: there have been a number of changes over the last 10 to 15 years in course offerings and career opportunities that ICC is working to prepare its students for. Are there any areas you feel that the college needs to either improve or change its focus to look toward the next generation of career opportunities?
Coming off and serving just 2 terms of 6 years on the foundation board, just to a few years ago, I actually got to be privy on a lot of these growth opportunities because some of them took fundraising to be a part of that. But thinking of our sustainability center and so health careers, I feel confident thus far in all of the partnerships with the community businesses and apprentice programs, trades, opportunities that are being offered at Illinois Central College being in alignment with what's happening in our community. Are there ways to improve? Absolutely. I don't know what all of those are yet, but given the ones that are here currently, I feel very confident in the student numbers increasing into these programs is showing that that's working.
All right, Ms. Lynn.
Well, see, I feel like let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I came out of ICC, finished a master's degree at Illinois State University, and currently work in a technical position for the federal government. I believe I've also taught. I have been adjunct at 2 liberal arts colleges in Central Illinois and 1 community college in Central Illinois. So I believe they're working on 8-week format, 8-week course offerings, which are accelerated, but will help students get through faster. And I believe they should continue there, but make sure it's the right program for an 8-week. Would nursing be the right, they need to continue to fine tune that and to continue in the tech although they have a pretty darn good start there in the tech area. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. The workforce gaps are actually pretty clear. Healthcare, manufacturing, IT, which we've recently been able to address with that initially $15 million and now $4.8 million. Supply chain and education. If there's an area that I feel that we're not putting quite as much effort into as I would like to see, and as some of the other board members would like to see, it would be in the area of education. And actually, it has been brought up at a couple of our retreats. I'm not saying we're not doing anything, but with the shortage of teachers, not just in Illinois, but across the country, I feel like there's more we do. But there's always a balance, of course. You know, as you put a lot of effort into one thing, sometimes it's difficult to put the same amount of effort into something else. So to some extent, maybe you have to take turns addressing those workforce gaps. We're doing a great job with those gaps, but first of all, you can always do better, always.
All right, thank you. Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you. Actually, we are addressing the program needs across the college. We have a process called Program Vitality, where we evaluate the need for a program. Does it in fact require, does the job you get at the end of that program require a credential, or is this something you could have gotten without a credential? So we're being very conscientious and very intent about only offering programs and looking at what we do offer that offer a program that actually you need to have that credential to get a job. Will it provide you a better job? We also are still over heavy in academics. We have about a 60% academic offering to 40% career and technical. We should be flipped for our region, for what our offerings are. We don't have enough programs that you can complete online only. In fact, we have very few programs that you can complete online only. And finally, regarding the education gap, we've discussed that very completely. The community college space is not a space that offers credentials for people to go into education.
Thank
The
you.
4 years handle that. Thank you.
All right, next question beginning with Ms. Lamb. Part of ICC's intent is to meet students where they are. And is the budget in line to support the needs of the students? And if not, what opportunities are there to adjust priorities in the budget?
I believe they are pretty well aligned and they're learning all the time. We have wraparound services. We now have funding and a very robust mental health connection for many of our students who need that. When I was a non-traditional student with 2 kids, I felt like the services, they were there. They were encouraging, and they're still there, and they're even more so. They have grant funding to cover some of it, and people that want to do the work to connect with students. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Our students today are not the students that we had when I went to college. The challenges that they face, balancing family and college, the vast majority of our students work. Financially, many of our students are struggling, and not just financially. They're struggling with housing. They're struggling with food, lots of housing insecurity, and mental health challenges exacerbated by COVID. So these students are different. We are, to our credit, starting to do a much better job of addressing the mental health challenges, and that's not easy to do. Years ago, those kinds of things weren't addressed at all. They have to be addressed now. Unfortunately, we have some former students who will never come back to school because of COVID. So we just have to keep at it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Armstrong.
Thetford covered all of this. Our students today have higher needs than we've ever seen. And the cost of putting a student through school simply through support has increased significantly over the last decade, specifically over the last 5 years. As Trustee Lamb stated, we've received some significant mental health funding. In fact, we just got announced for another $100,000 this week, one of the 18 schools that were offered across the state. Is the budget aligned? We still have a $3 million shortfall shortfall that we're filling through COVID money. That COVID money is gonna run out in the next couple of years. So we need to look at, what are we not gonna continue to do anymore? And how will we continue to support our students at the level they need? And some of that's gonna be, we're gonna have to get rid of some underperforming programs. We're gonna have to look at where some of our costs are. There's gonna be tough decisions. We have 70% of our population is part-time. These students have all kinds of things happening in their life outside of it, and they need our support. And fortunately, today they're getting it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
With everything that we just heard, I think the one thing that is so important in this is who is going to be on the board of trustees. How are we connecting those opportunities to the community to help fill that gap? Are the right programs there? Are the right personnel there? Are we needing to recruit other educators to our area if there's a shortage, and how do we focus on those? I've seen over the last 15 years that I've been involved, either as a student on the board in the community as a supporter, the growth of where things are going with Illinois Central College and the prioritization of programs. But I think this is really a checks and balances opportunity, not only for our board, but with the leadership in our community to really align what those priorities are when we're dealing with a gap in the future.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the next question, starting with Ms. Thetford. ICC offers a number of low-cost, no-cost programs or programs that rely on employer support for an advanced certificate that help bring in either low-income individuals or people who don't have the bandwidth right then to cover the tuition themselves. What are some of the barriers holding back more people from taking advantage of those programs, and what else can ICC do to remove them?
Well, to some extent, well, first of all, I want to applaud ICC because, thank you, Diane. First of all, I want to applaud ICC because every year more and more scholarships are being offered to individuals. It's amazing, I mean, how many. I think to some extent, we as a college need to do a better job of communicating the opportunities that are available. Because I hear in the community sometimes, well, I didn't know that I could apply for that. I didn't know that that existed. So, I'm not a communications wizard, but clearly to the extent that ICC can maybe partner with other organizations and what have you, community-based organizations, to inform them of those opportunities, I think that's what needs to be done.
All right, Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you. The number of low-cost, no-cost programs that we offer have probably tripled in the last 3 to 4 years. Majority of those are funded not only through grants and scholarships, but they're also funded through apprenticeships and internships, where the employers are not only paying for the student to attend college, but they're also paying them for seat time and as well as their tuition. The barriers that we find are, frankly, again, go back to that part-time student. When you are a part-time employee or working 3 part-time jobs and can't see your way out to how possibly could I go to school full-time, is how do we get more support in the community, more awareness. We've worked with our community-based organizations. We partner with over 40 of them with our WEI program, but absolutely continuing to tell people they can do it, and here's how we can get you there. Much more one-on-one than mass marketing will ever do, and we're continuing to grow in those areas.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
I have personally driven and or been on the phone with at least a dozen individuals over the last 10 years since graduating Illinois Central College to get them to enroll, to have that personal conversation. So when we're talking about one-on-one, it's sharing your story. If you haven't heard my story yet, I encourage you to hear it when I have more than 2 minutes to share that with you. But it really is, it's investing in the individual, it's believing in them, and it's about timing. So sometimes the timing just has to be right for that person to believe enough in themselves to take that one class. My encouragement is you don't need to take a full load. You can come in and take 1 class and build that confidence, and then you take 2. It is so exciting when they graduate with their associates and then move on, and I hear the success stories but it's exactly that. You invite, you build those relationships, and you bring them personally to Illinois Central College for those opportunities.
And Ms. Lynn?
I can say I agree with everything that has been said here. Personally, people need to be invited. I didn't know college was for me until I met somebody at ICC that said, you can do this. It is for you. And I didn't know. I'm 40 years old when I came back. I think a personal communication, a sharing what we see, I think all of the communication, it is for everyone. It will change your life. Opening up your world to other people besides your little box of a life of a community. You can do it. Those are my motto. You can do it, and anybody can do it. So thank you very much.
All right, next question beginning with Ms. Armstrong. Certainly, and this has been alluded to in answering the last question, so we're going to stick a little bit on workforce development. Apprenticeships and internships absolutely can benefit students and open the door to go from their degree or certificate into a career or into a promotion where they're working. What can be done at ICC to increase the number of these apprenticeships that are offered or apprenticeship certificate programs that are available?
I would say we're doing that work today. We're expanding our healthcare into the healthcare space. We are working with both OSF and Carl on healthcare-based apprenticeships. That's not something that we've done before. We're working with Methodist College. We're working with the nursing program at St. Francis in how we can bridge our students into their programs. So it's about getting more employers to understand that putting that help wanted ad out and having a vacancy for 2 years is actually more expensive than paying the tuition and wraparound support that a student would need to get through college and come to work for them in 2 years. We need more employers to step up.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
Given the level of community engagement on the different boards and committees that I have been a part of, not just in Peoria County, but surrounding counties that aligns with Illinois Central College, I think it's finding the businesses that haven't been approached and that we need to get there. With the relationships that I have and will continue to do, regardless of what happens in this election, aligning, not only bringing Dr. Sheila Quirk-Bailey and other leaders and blending them and introducing them to local businesses to look for those opportunities of apprentice programs, scholarships is absolutely what is necessary. So you can't just throw a dart at it, right? It really, and everyone who is around here in this community knows it's about building those relationships. If you have those relationships, it's already trusted when those doors open. So continuing to personally open those doors is critical.
All right, Ms. Lynn.
I believe the work is being done by the college, by our workforce group. They're outstanding, the workforce group. Currently now at work for us, for working with the people and the partnerships. We as board members, anybody, faculty, staff, we're all asked to talk to the community and share what we have to offer. I'm very pleased to learn that every time an apprenticeship, every time a partnership, when my husband was an electrician, and those people, those connections with the businesses that need the skilled labor, they come right out of ICC. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. You know, now is a perfect time for ICC to be working with businesses to fill those apprenticeships because there's staff shortages everywhere. And our first and foremost mission is to make sure that we educate those individuals. So when they get those apprenticeships, the business is like, wowza, okay? I want more individuals that have come through ICC's nursing program, or I want more individuals that have come through ICC's welding program. So we've got to educate them, continue to do that work that we've been doing all along, connect with the business that needs a qualified individual, And we're doing a really good job, I think, right now of communicating with the various chambers of commerce to have them also contact businesses within their chambers, letting them know the programs that we have, the areas that we have significant expertise, and establishing those apprenticeships.
All right, thank you. Our next question begins with Ms. Bare-Kemper, and it is this. Things are not getting cheaper anywhere, and the higher education field is notable as one where costs continue to increase. ICC has managed to maintain tuition affordability, but how do you address those continued rising costs across the field?
ICC is half of what it is for a public school and a fraction of a private school. I think a year is still under $5,000, if I'm correct, for taking the full load at Illinois Central College. That is a testimony to not only what ICC continues to want to be affordable, available, and inviting. So I think really the only way one of the main things that we're going to have to do is increase tuition, but how do we do that and how do we keep it affordable? We at ICC have been able to maintain a minimal increase in tuition. So looking for all of the other opportunities like we talked about, right? The apprentice programs, all of the other funding things that have been discussed, but really that's it. And then just slowly working with the students to make sure that it's still obtainable.
All right, Ms. Lamb.
I know cost continues to come up as a barrier for students, and I do understand currently there are 35 states that have free community colleges. Illinois is not one of them, but we have kept our costs low. I believe efficiency in operation, cost, they watched cost, they set their priorities on cost. We have kept the tuition relatively consistent. I think it's a constant effort. I don't know if we'll ever get to be one of the other states that have free community college, but we have a supportive state as well, I believe. That's all I have to say.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. Earlier, I talked about the fact that I felt really my first job was to represent the community. And in doing so, I have been a leader, if you will, in keeping tuition as low as possible. I think that's a responsibility we have to the community. We've increased scholarships, which has been incredibly helpful as well. We've managed to increase enrollment. We are finally now where we were pre-COVID, okay? Which is good. I mean, that's an increase. But we're not anywhere near the 13 or 14,000 that we were some years ago. And I don't see that happening. Nevertheless, we need to continue to increase enrollment. And there is a problem sometimes if you increase tuition, that doesn't necessarily increase enrollment. And we're doing an amazing job of obtaining grants. We need to keep that up.
All right, Ms. Armstrong.
The two things that students look at are how long it will take me to complete a good degree or a credential, and what's the cost. So if you go to our website, on every program page, that is front and center. And as Christine said, it is typically under $5,000 a year. And for those certificates that take 6 months to a year, it's obviously going to take less time. We're also doing work in what's called the OER space, Open Educational Resources, where students can get all of their textbook information online and for free. That's critically important because sometimes the cost of the books exceeded the cost of tuition. Increasing our offerings in the 8-week course offerings are only going to strengthen those tools and what the students need. Our students have said to us they want a small incremental increase in tuition annually or more frequently than a large increase. So when they come to the board and say, how do you feel about a tuition increase? They're saying, if it's going to be 3 to 5%, I can handle that. I don't want 15%.
All right, on to our next question, starting with Ms. Lamb. We are down to our final 2 to 3 questions, just to get the candidates' information on this. We've gotten several of them from the audience that have kind of overlapped with ones we've prepared, but I'm going to move to a couple here from the audience. What do you believe is the most significant challenge or issue facing ICC, and how would you address it if you are elected or re-elected to the board?
A significant issue is balancing the quality, the cost, the employees and employee benefits for priorities that we set. We set priorities, the strategic plan sets priorities for a several-year period, and cost is always a factor. I mean, think cost. The partnerships are vital. Efficiency in operation is vital. I'd just say sustainability is the most critical thing. We want to keep this institution. We want to keep it healthy. We want to keep it relevant for our community, for our state, for our country. We're in the middle of the country. So.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. That's a toughie. The most significant challenge, I honestly think, is holding enrollment and continually working to try to increase it, because the high school population is decreasing. So we're going to be losing a little bit on that front. But also addressing those student challenges that I talked about earlier. The issues that they have, balancing family and finances and food and what have you. It's not financial. We are in great financial strength. We maintain between 25 and 40% of our annual operating balance in a rainy day fund. Our annual operating balance being around 60 million. And sometimes we get over 40 and have to move money out of it. In addition to our budget, we allocate $1 million every single year to our president for her to make discretionary decisions.
Ms. Armstrong.
Others have touched on, I think our number one priority is our 15% decline in high school graduation in spring of 26. So that's 15% in our district alone. The state of Illinois is going to see a 35% decline from 2020 to 2035 in 18-year-olds. We have to retool our organization to offer what the adult market needs. We have 81,000 individuals in our community, in our district, that have a high school diploma only or some college no credential. We have to increase our number of online offerings. We have to increase our number of evening offerings. And as everyone has said, we need to continue to provide support to those individuals so they can balance their lives as well as advancing themselves through a credential that will provide a family-sustaining wage.
And Ms. Bare-Kemper.
I think I'll just add, in addition to a few of these things, one of the biggest things about Illinois Central College that makes me love it so much is really the culture, the accessibility, and the opportunities. So while we are needing to prioritize and often reprioritize what those programs might be for the students and the individuals around us, keeping the vision, keeping the culture, working with the staff, all of our educators and the people that walk through all of these institutions, making sure that those students have direct access to their professors, to the labs, et cetera. All of that in conjunction with the necessary steps when it comes to a budget are going to be critical to make sure that this is ongoing in its success for the opportunities.
All right, our next question beginning with Ms. Thetford. I mentioned before kind of this motto or ideal of trying to meet students where they are, but let's talk about how we can best meet prospective students where they are, and looking at-risk students, those who may not have been told that they can't make it or that they can't succeed in the collegiate environment. What else can ICC do to target at-risk high school or even at the middle school level students to help guide them into considering ICC?
Well, anything and everything we can do to improve the pipelines to the middle schools, the high schools, or what have you, to the counselors, to the teachers, to the administrators, to get the information out about ICC, it is imperative. And we're doing that. I'm not saying we're not doing that, but we need to even further increase our efforts. But these days, we also need to work with the community-based organizations that interact with those students and make sure that they're aware of the opportunities. Trustee Cannon, who's not running right now for re-election, is very much involved in that effort in the Peoria community, working with the schools and the families and the community-based organizations to let them know the opportunities. Again, it's about communication. ICC does a great job of communicating, but the one-on-one communication, to the extent that can occur, and individuals know about these opportunities. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you. I agree. We are doing a lot of work in that space. Just to give you an example, for spring of this year, we increased enrollment in the 03 zip code by 21%. We increased enrollment in 61605 by 48%. Those are some of the most distraught, underserved communities in our region. Not only that, but when you go to the rural areas, when you go to rural Pekin, rural East Peoria, we're increasing enrollment double digits in those areas as well. We have staff dedicated to meeting with community-based organizations, not just in Peoria, but also in Tazewell, Woodford, and other counties. We need to expand that. That has proven that position is paying for itself several times over by the number of students that we're outreaching and getting to enroll in not only credit, but workforce programs to improve their lives. So I think we just need to expand the work that we're doing.
Ms. Bare-Kemper.
One of the things that I think is crucial in this is just really, again, going back to those personal relationships. What is the relationship with the local counselors in our schools? I've had the opportunity to mentor students from Peoria Regional Learning Center for years. I started the foundation for that school and have continued to support over the years. But what are we doing with the counselors and all these schools to have access to the students so we have that opportunity to come in and mentor and share the opportunities? This isn't just a table in a lobby that you put a sign up on this and expect that the students are going to come by and ask the questions. You meet them where they are. And those counselors should, in theory, have their eye on the ones that need to have extra time. And so it's our responsibility, not only as board members, but community members that want ICC to succeed, to go and meet those students where they are and invite them, walk hand in hand with them, and bring them the opportunity.
And Ms. Lynn.
Yes, I also believe that college is doing things right now in this area, reaching out even to middle schools. We have College for Kids, we have people visiting grade schools, high schools, but I also see, being in the rural Peoria County, in our county papers, I see the schedule of all the opportunities. ICC has these open houses every day of the week. It's Saturday, Sunday evenings, daytime, and that's what needed to happen. It was kind of targeted for daytime, which didn't serve everyone. So I'm seeing that we're there, just continue.
All right, and we're going to close out with this question and then move on to closing statements. Last question, starting with Ms. Armstrong. What are the career opportunities of the future for students, the ones that we need to get in at the beginning of the wave for and begin planning for now for the next generation of students?
It's like the $64 million question, right? No pressure.
That's why we ended
I will say that the thing we need to consider is it's one thing to say what's the wave of the future, but the thing that we do at Illinois Central College as a community college is make sure that we're preparing students for jobs that are in our community. So we know that the reason that ICC got the $15 million grant for IT in partnership with Bradley and Eureka is because we saw the need. The employers told us the number one need in our community was for professionally trained IT workers, not only for new employees, but for upskilling their current employees. So in the IT area is absolutely going to grow regardless of the industry. That's going to cover manufacturing, healthcare, supply chain, whatever. AI is also growing, as we all know. We just started offering courses in that. We're expanding those offerings. We got to stay ahead of it, but we also got to make sure those jobs are available for our community. That's who we're here to serve.
All right, Ms. Bare-Kemper.
I think that, well, having 5 children ranging from 22 to 30 is giving me a lot of experience of what the future is going to hold, right? So my 22-year-old, my 24-year, my 24, 27, 28, 29, they all have different paths, right? But they're all doing different things, and they have this idea of, I want to have freedom to be able to go do what I want, where I want, when I want. Now, keep local talent here. How do we attract that? But this is also about recruiting people to come into our community, because we have people moving in from all over the country because of what Peoria is offering, Peoria area, all of this. So while we're looking at this growth opportunity, not only for Illinois Central College, current students, how are we attracting those other people to come in and align with that? And we have to be mobile and we have to be creative.
All right, Ms. Lynn.
So we, as trustees, the leadership and the folks at Illinois Central College are constantly looking at data. We have an Illinois Community College Trustees Association, and we have a National Trustees Association. We are always looking at data, trying to stay on top of where it's relevant to the, we're going to need electricians, we're going to need skilled labor, but we're also going to need our technical, and talking to the people here, the businesses, the partnerships, the students. Some people coming out of high school do not feel like they're the academic type. They want to work with their hands. They're just communicating, being aware. I think we're working in that area, and we have been.
All right, and Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. You know, it's important to look at career opportunities in the future. We've talked about AI, we've talked about IT. But sometimes it's kind of like, you know, new business is always classier than taking care of current business. But if we're not careful, you know, we won't have plumbers, we won't have welders, and honestly, we're not going to have teachers. So sometimes, as opposed to looking forward, we need to look in the mirror and see where we truly are. I think counseling, if anybody's tried, if you know people who've tried to get counselors lately, they are all booked up. They're overworked. There's not nearly enough social workers and what have you. So again, the future's important, and I don't have a crystal ball. AI, I gotta tell you, when we went a few months ago to learn about AI, I was like, oh my God, what the heck is this? But we gotta look at it. We gotta have teachers. If we don't have teachers, we won't have to worry about all kinds of things. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to closing comments, beginning with Ms. Bare-Kemper, and then we have a few concluding notes before we head on up.
I just want to thank you all again for this time and this opportunity. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this, and you've made it really enjoyable. Thank you. I have the pleasure of, I think, really calling all 3 of these ladies my friends, and just being able to see what everyone has done to support the school over the years is commendable, and I've really enjoyed my time working with everyone in the capacities that I have. I do think that being able to serve the 2 terms that Diane and Gale have both served is long enough to make an impact. I'm appreciative of what they've done, but I'm asking for a new face on the Board of Trustees. I've got new ideas. I'm not in this for the long haul. I'm going to be here to make an impact and go deep and to go wide. But I bleed blue and gold. I am Illinois Central College. I'm standing here as one of the biggest ambassadors for this college, and I'd be honored to be able to work with all of you. My cell phone number, I'm happy to give it out, 309-360-7429. Call me, talk to me about what you'd like to. I've got a flyer on the back that has a QR code that takes you to my website and friends of Christine Bare-Kemper. So I would love to work with you. Thank you for your time.
All right, Ms. Lynn.
I too am one of the biggest fans of why would I want to do this? Because I care, because it's so important. ICC, we are so lucky it's here. But we need to make sure it's relevant, it's sustainable. We are here for the community, and I just want to continue what we've started and keep the course. I think we're on a good trajectory with the workforce development, with the grants, bringing in other people's money funding with reworking the IT, the completely redoing the computer systems. Anyway, I just enjoy doing this work for the community.
All right, Ms. Thetford.
Thank you. I again want to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum today, and our moderator, Chris Kergard from the Dirksen Congressional Center for his participation. And many thanks to all of you who've taken time on a Saturday afternoon to show your interest in the leadership of ICC. I've worked diligently for 12 years to serve the college and our community, and I asked to be reelected to continue to increase enrollment and, more importantly, student success rates, to hold the line on tuition and manage the many challenges our students face, support workforce initiatives and workforce gaps, strengthen the existing pipelines with our school districts. Finally, it's very possible we will be faced with the hiring of a new president over the next 6 years. My experience of such a previous process is important. I humbly ask for your vote on April 1st.
And Ms. Armstrong.
I'm going to pull out an old tool I've used for many years in the top 10 reasons why Kim Armstrong. I'm the only candidate with relevant leadership experience in higher education. I have a proven track record in our community as a leader who gets things done. Third, I don't do media. Fourth, I know how important ICC is to our region, and I will work to strengthen relationships. I'll provide critical insight into the hiring of our next president. I have a history of developing solutions to make organizations stronger. I understand our strengths and our weaknesses and how the board can support both. I also understand the distinction between the responsibilities of the board and those of the administration. I have over 30 years of experience volunteering with college-age students. I understand their needs. I believe in the power of education, and I've seen firsthand how ICC serves our students and the economic and social growth of our region. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. I want to ask everybody, first of all, to give all of our candidates a round of applause. Second, I believe I was remiss earlier in not acknowledging we do have another candidate in the room who is running unopposed to complete a term, Mr. Budzinski. Just want to acknowledge that will also appear on your ballot. However, for this card on your ballot, there are 4 people running for 2 seats to be elected. The top 2 vote getters will be elected in the April 1st election. This is our reminder to all of you to make sure that you go and vote, whether that is voting early in person, whether that is voting by mail, or whether that is voting in person on April 1st. Thank you all very much. And again, there is information from the candidates in the back if you wish to pick any of that up. And if their time allows, they may choose to stick around for one-on-one conversations with anybody. Thank you all very much, and please remember, vote.
Thank you.